And well, hello there, everybody. I hope you're all having a very good day. And so for today, I have a bunch of things that I'm working on. One of which is just trying to sort of plan out my new bed system. And you guys already know how long I've been trying to deal with this issue. And oh, it's not really an issue, okay? So it's more like a something that's just ongoing. So going back to when I first started this van build, and one of the reasons why I started it. So I guess you know I set up the van tour. I posted the van tour today, which sort of gives you a tour of my van. It shows you what it looks like, more deeper into it, because I know for the past couple of years I've been posting pictures on my Instagram, which is at silvercabin.ca. Okay, and I've been posting on my Facebook and Facebook groups, and I've always been posting as well on Reddit. And we all know my experience with Reddit, right? So, so in terms of like my experience with Reddit, I think 99% of the time it's been really amazing, and I've gotten some really good ideas in terms of just some of the helpful comments that I've gotten from the Reddit users. So but like anything else, everything on the internet, you're gonna get some trolls, and unfortunately, sometimes I got some trolls. Now I've got a video about that as well, and then I talked about my thoughts on that. I think for the most part, Reddit has been incredibly useful because there's a subreddit there called Van Dwellers, and all the answers are there. I mean, a lot of it. There's also YouTube, YouTube University. So going back to when I first started thinking about van life, van dwelling, and traveling in a van. Um, I had several reasons why, and over time, in the past 2 years, the reasons pretty much changed. The reasons sort of like they transformed right over time, and one of the reasons was I needed a place to sort of have a respite or a place where I could sort of just like chill right out, like a little cottage. I think that's the best, like a little cottage or a cabin, like a cabin on wheels. And at the time as well, one of the things I was doing was running Spartan races. I was doing a lot of training, and I would run at a trail, and then I'd be like completely tired afterwards. And then I needed a place to sort of just like really chill out and relax. Like this table almost fell apart here. Sorry. And once that was done, after like I was training, I would rest and relax. So that was one thing that was good about having a camper van, something where I could rest. Now there were other reasons as well. The expression "fortress of solitude," a place where I can sort of just rethink, reset, even like write my short stories. There's a very therapeutic and thing about it, and it's good for your mental health and well-being to be able to sort of sort things out. And that's one of the reasons why I sort of started doing this thing as well. um, on a financial scale, I had other reasons that I won't go into at this time, but overall it turned out really well, and I'm really excited to see where all this is going to be going in the next few months. I've got some planning, I've got some decisions I need to make, and for the most part, I'm really excited about what I'm going to be building next. And one of which is actually this space here. It's I'm starting to specialize. I'm starting to get really good, okay, in building out tiny spaces, small spaces. Whether it's a minivan camper van, which is like an 8x4 or 32 square feet foot space, or something like this, which is I think is about 15 by 10. So it's a small space, but I can do a lot with this, I think. So I'm not going to show you what the other side looks like because it looks horrible. It's livable, okay? You could certainly, sort of have it as a space where you can sort of just go to bed and then go to work, that kind of thing, right? But I want it to something a little more than that. For now, the my minivan camper van is my main thing that I'm traveling in, and I'm having a ton of fun with. I'm just looking at it right now. I'm sorting through some of my pictures because I want to start posting out some of the pictures. So So you guys could sort of see like what I had from before. And also one of my good friends, uh, a photographer, Allan, and I'm going to introduce you to some of the photos that he's taken pictures of my van and also me, right? Oh, and we also did a video together in terms of like, my sort of like a day in the life of my van kind of thing with me in my van. Did you guys just see the light kind of change? Like I didn't like this camera is like really wonky, right? But anyway, so the light kind of changed. Anyway, that's okay. So the deal with when I started this live stream, I was talking about the bed system. So okay, so fine. So the bed system. So and then I got into this thing where how did I get started with this van build and why? I've got an entire story about it, but I'll tell it maybe on another video. I'm more interested in about the bed and how I'm going to be building it out. The bed system right now is sort of like opens up and folds, and it works well. It's comfortable, okay, but it isn't as efficient as it could be. And this is something I found when it comes to working on my on my van build, because you're making these iterations, because as you're sort of like living in your van or using your van, you're realizing that, hey, I could do this better, or this is a better way of doing this. Oh, hey, when I made this, I noticed that when I open this part, it hits that part of the van. And especially when you have a really, really small space like this minivan camper van, you have to be judicious in the way you're doing this stuff. You have to be extremely judicious in the way you're building it out, because there's not a lot of space in this thing. It's 32 square feet, okay? 32 square feet of space. I mean, if you really wanted to, if I really wanted to, I could perceivably just stay in my van for like 5 to 10 days, holed up in my van, just not doing anything, just living out of it, right? I could do that. And, but that's not the whole purpose of it. The purpose of it is so that I could travel and obviously have a place to stay and to relax and all that stuff, right? So the bed is a very important part. It has to be comfortable. And that was the number one thing when I was designing my bed. Now, it's gone through several iterations, but each iteration was comfortable. Was it the most efficient use of space? Well, at the time it was, because that's what I knew. But after about 2 years of traveling in my van, pretty much living in my van, sleeping in my van, cooking in my van, in my van, all that stuff. I realized this is going to be how the bed system is going to be, because it'll be the most efficient use of it. And so one of the first things I did when I was making this little bed system, right, in this tiny, tiny, tiny space. Again, it's a tiny space. It's like insane. However, it's a comfy space. It's a nice, comfy space. So um, I went on YouTube. I did some Google searches. I thought, well, maybe I should just buy a bed, right? Maybe I should just buy a bed. But trying to find a bed that would retrofit properly in the minivan is very difficult. If you can do it, great. But my minivan is a little different. It's not a typical minivan. It's sort of like on the outside, it looks like a normal minivan. And that's what I want it to look like. I want it to be, nice and neat and clean. Okay. But inside is when the fun stuff happens. Okay. And trying to fit a bed that you buy off the shelf is not going to work, because it's not like it might work on a no build. Okay, it might work on a no build type of thing when you're starting out, which I did have when I first started out. I had a no build. I didn't have all the stuff that I have right now. If you're looking at the some of the playlists, the van tour, my van did not look like that. I actually started creating it out of cardboard because it was the most available thing to me at the time. So what I did was I mapped everything out. I said, okay, this is where the little kitchenette's going to go. This is where the bed's going to go. And over here is going to be where the seat's going to go. And, what are the things that I'm going to be doing in this van? One of them, obviously, is going to be sleeping. I'm going to be relaxing. I'm also going to be doing some computing because, I also do I do computer programming. I create apps. I create database-driven applications, both for web and for desktop. Desktop, not so much anymore. A lot of the stuff I'm working on is accessible via the web. And as long as it's like what's called HTTPS, as long as it's secure, it's pretty cool. However, like anything else, I always say when it comes to like security, I mean, they could literally hammer the server, and if they want you, they'll probably get you. So I always say, just be nice, you know? Anyway, going back to the bed system. So I found a design for the bed system that it doesn't like open up like a sandwich like what I have right now, but the bed system actually just slides right out. And I know what you're thinking. It's the bed system that has the slats, okay? And that's going to be them I'm going to be using, but it's going to be different because as I was going through some of these YouTube videos, as I was sort of like watching how they were doing things, I realized that when they were opening it up, it was kind of difficult for them to actually, open up. I noticed that when it was getting stuck. So I've got a few things that I'm going to try on the bed system so that I'm getting a full like the width about the width of the van. It's going to be about 3 feet wide. The bed, and I'm not that wide, right? So 3.5 feet probably maximum, and then that'll be really comfortable. Because what I also did was I modified the side where I have the arm on the back seat. Boy, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but at the back of my van, I kept the original seat, okay, so that I could sit down, I could do some computing, some programming, surfing the internet, okay, all that stuff, right? And then I could also eat, right? That kind of thing. But I kept that one seat because it's comfortable, right? I don't think I could, because it's meant to be there, the original seat. Now, I took out the other seat. I could always put it back, but I'm not going to do that. So I kept that seat, but I also use it as part of the bed system. So what happens is at the back, I've kept the seat, and then in front of that seat is where the rest of the bed system would be, so that I can comfortably sleep it's like a single. Okay, there we go. It's like a single bed. It's really, really comfy and somewhat spacious for one, and really cozy for two if you had two people. Okay, so no, I don't have two people. It's just me basically. I'm a solo traveler, and so the thing about solo traveling, when I went to Tobermory, it was so awesome. So this year, I hope to be able to go to Tobermory and find some parking and hopefully be able to sort of sleep in Tobermory. Like right now, if you if you're in the States, there's this place in Ontario called Tobermory, Bruce Peninsula. If you Google map it, it's like right up north. From here, it's about 2.5 hours, 3 hours away. It depends how fast I drive. For me, it'll probably take me 4 hours because I'm always stopping off somewhere, because I want to enjoy the trip, because that's the whole idea when it comes to like when you're traveling, you really want to get a full sense of the area, right? And if you're booking yourself at a hotel, right, you want to get to the hotel, you want to get to that place, you want to go everywhere. But if you have like a minivan camper van, like sort of like a cabin on wheels, you can take your time because really you could drive up anywhere and you could sleep anywhere. And I've done that. For example, up in Huntsville, up in Algonquin, just before you go into Algonquin, there is a Walmart there. It's clean, okay? And I've seen a few people sort of like pull over and rest. And as long as you maintain and it's nice and clean, you can definitely stay there. And I've done that. Obviously, the view isn't as nice, okay? However, uh, once you go on Highway 60 up to Algonquin, the view's it's just beautiful. If you're ever in Ontario, Canada, try to make it out to Algonquin Park. It really is quite beautiful. Now, the arrangements in terms of day passes and camping might be filled up. It's become extremely popular ever since the pandemic. The pandemic has really kind of like opened up this like deluge of people visiting Algonquin Park and the provincial parks. And before it was much quieter. Now it's like it's much more difficult to get a reservation, like a camping reservation. But it's easy when you have a minivan camper van. So for me, what I end up doing is like I also tent camp. Okay, there's that light again. I mean, it was just dark, and all of a sudden it's light. Okay, we'll just leave it at this. Maybe it's the way I'm moving around, right? I'll just stay still. But so the minivan camper van, I have a tent. So if I ever if I drove to Algonquin Park. Oh, by the way, I was just talking about Tobermory, but we'll talk about Algonquin Park because I like that place as well. So I drive into Highway 60. So it takes about 3 hours to get there, and on the way on 11, uh, drop over at Weber's. They have the most amazing veggie burger. Now, I don't always eat veggie, but I have to say the veggie burger at Weber's on Highway 11 is just amazing. It tastes like meat. Okay, I'll eat the the regular stuff, right? But anyway, that's Weber's. Anyway, on the way to Algonquin Park, so I sleep over at Walmart, okay, or something if I have to, if I'm like driving late, and then it's about 40 minutes away, Algonquin Park, and I have a tent, and sometimes uh, if I'm lucky, I can actually get a spot for one night. And what's great about having a minivan camper van, you just drive up to the site, you're all ready. You don't even have to leave your van unless you want to make a fire or stuff. And you don't have to like set up a tent. You're ready to go. Okay. And so for the next day, I just drive out and I do some trails and so on and so forth. But if I needed to have a tent, I have a tent and I set it up and, just like real camping. So that's one great thing about having a minivan camper van. It's literally your cabin on wheels, your home away from home. I could do everything. For example, at work, ah, uh, work is really good. Um, so on my work breaks, wintertime, summer, spring, fall, whatever, right? Like most people, they go to their lunchroom. They go to the lunchroom. I don't go to my lunchroom. I don't go to the work lunchroom. I actually beeline it over to my van and close everything up, and I take a nap. I have my lunch, I have a nap, I make my phone calls. It's like a little tiny little living room that I have that I'm in, right? And so I'm in this little world for a little while for my break, and then I just sort of go back to work kind of thing. So that's another benefit to a minivan camper van. But going back to Algonquin Park, what's great is I don't know if you've ever been to Algonquin Park. There's different levels of like trails and hiking, and um, I think it's called the Track and Tower, and I hiked it, and it was about 2 or 3 hours, and I was really really pushing myself. I was running every so often because at that time I was training, right? And afterwards, I was so tired, and it felt so good to remember that one, I have one of those uh, portable showers, okay, so, sort of like wash myself off, okay, and then I realized, I could literally stay here until late evening and just hang out. I had a nice little spot in the corner that faced out in the woods, and I made myself some coffee, and then I made some soup, and then I thought, hey, you know what? I think I've got some chicken from the other day. It's in my fridge. I've got a mini fridge, okay? Oh, you know what? I posted a van tour. I'm not sure if I actually included my fridge. It's a mini fridge. It's an Alpicool, and it's small, but it's enough for one person, right? So anyway, I cooked some stuff and I heated up some chicken, and I just really relaxed. And because the location that I was at had some internet, I was able to sort of like surf the internet, that kind of thing. But the main thing that I did was I sort of wrote my short stories. I made some planning, and I just enjoyed being there, like in my little cabin. And then I got bored and I thought, well, I'll go somewhere else. So I drove down Highway 60 again, and I turned off to Lake of Two Rivers, where there's a lake, right? Lake of Two Rivers. And then there was another place, I can't remember the name, but I stayed there and I had lakefront property in my minivan camper van, and it was just really cozy being there. So we went from like me talking about my bed system all the way to me talking about Algonquin, whipping over to Tobermory, which I haven't talked about yet, with the grotto, right? And oh wow, Dave the Uber slave. I'm sorry. Hey man, how you doing? I'm not even paying attention. How are you, Dave? Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining. I don't know when you came by and typed that in. I'm not paying attention. But it doesn't even, does it even show the time? I'm gonna type something. Hello. It doesn't show the time. When are you coming down to Melody? I don't know where Melody is, but sure, why not? I don't even know when I'm going to be heading out there. I hope soon. Okay, it's a scheduling thing with me, right? Uh, Most people know when. Oh, Malibu. Okay, Melody's good too. Malibu looks much better. I'd love to come down to Malibu. Um, when I get the time, what I actually want to do another build. I don't know if you, in my previous videos, I talked about my minivan, camper van as like sort of like the prototype build because Dave, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I mean, I was like literally, I learned everything from the University of YouTube. Okay. And obviously, Googling and really working hard and getting good parts and everything. So what I ended up doing was three generations. Hello there. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Hey, you made it to you made it. The new Toyota hybrid minivan will run the air conditioner all night. You know what, dude? I've been really looking at those like yeah, the hybrids. I've been looking at like Teslas. I've been looking at trucks, electrical, all that stuff. Oh, that's a good idea. Without the car turning on, well, sometimes it might turn on to charge. Yeah. I think I think I would probably go for a hybrid. Okay. But one of the things I was looking at as well, like let's say for example, if I were to like leave right now, start heading out west, it'll probably take me about 2 to 3 days to get there, or more, because knowing me, I'd probably stop somewhere and to like look around, take pictures, load up my Instagram, and post pictures, share the journey kind of thing, right? There's a whole thing online with Priuses. That's why people live in them because okay, the air conditioner. Actually, I could see that. But right now, my van has that miniaturized 12-volt AC. It's more of a spot cooler. It's not really. I wouldn't consider it a. I would not consider it like a full-fledged air conditioner. What it is, if you think of a fan where it's blowing on you and everything, right? Um, the air conditioner is a really good spot cooler. It's cold air. So Dave, you're asking if you're not in BC. Dude, I wish I was in BC. That would be like the ultimate. I'm in Ontario right now. Okay. I'm in Ontario. I've got a few things happening, and right now, because of the way my life is, I'm tethered to Ontario. But I'll tell you something, one day it's going to change. And the moment that does, I'm going to be heading out there. Obviously, BC, Alberta, and then I'm going to visit you in Malibu. We're going to have a couple of drinks. We're just going to chill right out. But my question is, will this wonderful minivan camper van of mine make it out there? And I'm about out of 10, I'm like a solid 8.5 out of 10. It'll make it out there without any problems because this thing is a tank, okay? And also, I don't drive very fast. I don't, somebody had asked me, oh, James, when you drive around, don't things go flying all over the place? Well, I'll let you in a little secret. I don't think I drive fast enough to create that much momentum for anything to like, go all over the place, right? And also everything's pretty secured down. I've got really good shelves. I don't drive very fast at all. I like to like take it all in and just like relax, right? Um, so Dave, you're saying you don't need a hybrid to run an air conditioner off a battery because you do. Yeah, that's right. I've got one of those. Okay. Like I do have like that 12-volt AC right now that I'm using, but it's not really. I wouldn't consider it an air conditioner. It's more like a really really good spot cooler. And the way I can the way I compare the air conditioner versus the 12 this miniaturized air conditioner that works to me really well. It's sort of like if you ever have a fan and it's blowing on you and it's just blowing hot air at you, okay? This is actually blowing cold air at you, which is like really comfortable. It's so comfortable that I can actually sleep on a humid night. That's how good it is. It isn't a swamp cooler. And a swamp cooler is more like, you go to a gas station and you're getting ice. You throw ice in this thing and it does cool you off, but eventually you run out of ice. And on a humid night, it's not very good. This AC that I have right now is vented out. It's got an evaporator. It's got a compressor. condenser. It runs on refrigerant. It has refrigerant, so it's like a real AC. Um, have you seen my new? Yes, I have. You know what? I think I'm subscribed to it. I think I'm sub, and if I'm not, I will. You know what? Post your link there so we can all take a look at it, okay? And also, what I'll do is I'll post it up in my community tab because I know you've got some really good stuff, man. I love your stuff, and I love your stuff from the Facebook post. That's always a lot. That's always really exciting. Thank you. Three full solar panels. Oh, solar panels, man. It's like, okay, that'd be nice. You're maxed out at 130 amps of charging. That's like, I think that's like 10 times more than what I've got. I'm charging at about 15 amps, okay, for my solar power. And it's like a trickle charger, really. Okay. But because my batteries right now are currently being charged up via DC to DC charger. It's a 50 amp DC to DC charger that I installed on my minivan camper van. So when I'm driving, I always have battery. And when I'm stationary, it works well enough. And I don't use a lot of electricity because I mean, many moons ago, years ago, when I was in high school, when I was much younger, I used to like camp, right? And I never had any electrical, right? This thing here, this minivan camper van, is compared to how I used to do things, is more of a like a little mansion to me. But in this case here, it's like a cabin on wheels, home away from home. So, but yeah, now you're a part of the yeah, that's right, Barb. Hey, Barb, how you doing? Yeah, I am part of like the YouTube University. You can learn anything on YouTube. It's so much fun, right? So Dave, so my AC chance to take 20 or 30, so 30 amps. I want enough power to run that in a TV. What are you watching on TV, man? It's like, you know what? I actually don't watch TV. I watch YouTube videos and I read and all that stuff. I haven't watched a real TV show in so long. I watch movies. I watch Netflix. But your power needs are so much different from mine. But I'm sure you're having much more fun and much cooler. Um, right now, I'm watching you. You're watching. Well, hello there. You're watching me on TV. Thank you. Thanks for visiting, everybody. That's very cool. That's very cool. Oh man, I edit videos on my laptop, and it's a 13-inch. It's a Mac laptop. I use. Oh, what program do you use to edit videos, Dave? What program do you use? Yeah, actually, you do have much more sun. You're out there in Malibu, and one day, dude, I'm gonna make it out there, and we're gonna do stuff. Okay, it'll be a lot of fun. Maybe you can give me some tips as well on your system. But me or Dave? Well, actually, okay. In terms of editing videos, there's two that I use to edit my videos, and one of them is it's for my phone. DaVinci Resolve. Wow, look at that. You're using the expensive stuff, and I know that stuff is that's high end stuff. Like for me, I use an app. Well, for my phone, Barb, for my phone, when I edit my videos, I don't really edit them. It's more like it's just that you just slap together the videos, and you could you could split them up. I use I use Viva Cut for the app, and then I use Shotcut for my Mac, and it's also open source. But Dave, DaVinci is like solid, man. That's really solid stuff. You're kidding me. That's pretty much almost all of my videos, 1080. Oh, I didn't even know that. See what I mean? See what I mean about like putting yourself out there and people commenting and this is an actual example, okay? I didn't know that because I've always said, DaVinci, oh, yeah, I can't afford that. So I actually started using Snapseed is good. I've seen that before. I started using Shotcut, which is for Mac, for Windows, and also for Windows and with Linux as well. I think it's Ubuntu. I think it'll work on Ubuntu. Oh man, paying $53 for Adobe. See, I remember back in the day. It's funny, we were talking about the whole van thing in my bed system. Now we're talking about Adobe. That's okay, right? It's a live stream. It's like right now it's a free for all. Well, we'll get back to talking about the Algonquin and also my bed system. I'm changing that up. $53 for Adobe? Yikes. That's I remember way back in the day I bought Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, and then somehow, some way, I went from there was a thing called Macromind Director, and then I started using Macromedia. So that was pretty good. That was pretty good. But anyway, so yeah, we were talking about my bed system in Algonquin. So when I finish my bed system, which I'm actually going to try to sort of like create a video on how I'm making this thing, because I think it's important. But there's actually a whole bunch of videos on how to make a bed system that with slats. The only thing I'm probably going to videotape is show, hey, this is how I changed it up so it's easier to open up and everything. So I'm hoping that it'll be useful for some people, and I'm hoping it'll actually work well. And I think it'll work well. Like right now, my current bed system is working fine. It's just I think it could be better and also much more efficient as well. But yeah, so Tobermory. So in Ontario, Tobermory, it's a beautiful place. And this is where I was thinking about signing up for StreamYard. StreamYard, it allows me to share my screen and also have a stream, my screen and my stream, so I could show you the pictures, because it's a really beautiful place. If you Google Tobermory at the Bruce Peninsula area in Ontario, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's sort of like it's like the Caribbean in Ontario. It's beautiful. So check that out. And I'm hoping to travel out there if I can this summer. It's just been really busy year. It's just busy across the board. Some really good, some kind of a little challenging, but overall pretty good. Oh wow, there's other conversations here. Let's take a look. Yeah, Florida's hot. Yeah, I think if anything, mini split. Bub Blades, how are you, man? Yo yo. Welcome. I thought I would do just as originally I was doing this live stream just to sort of do just to see how it works again. Like I'm getting used to the live stream, all the buttons I have to press, and I'm looking at StreamYard to see how I can integrate that, because I'm learning a lot. For example, just when I post something like Dave, what you said about DaVinci, I didn't even know about that 1080. Well, gee, I'll start using that as well, because it's a better editor right across the board, right? Bub, everything's good. I'm actually feeling much better, these days, and the fact that summer is literally around the corner and everything is it's a nice day today. I think it's like 24, 23. Of course, it doesn't compare to Malibu, right? Where Dave the Uber slave is. That area is wonderful. Who are these people? Just go camping, mom. Yeah, who are these people? We're just a bunch of people doing live stream. Um, Camping, yeah, camping's so much fun. When you're out there and you have a little fire going and everything, it's just so relaxed. Just so relaxing. Um, I was talking about my bed system. Originally, I thought I would start this up and say, let's see. I wasn't expecting anybody to show up, but I'm glad you guys did. I'm glad you guys showed up. And Malibu, you know what, guys? I'll tell you what, everybody, we're all going to Malibu to visit Dave the Uber slave. Okay? How about we all agree to that? We'll just sort of like drive out there. That's on the assumption my minivan camper van will make it out there. But I am looking at possibly, and it's a high possibility, is to maybe get like a high roof, not necessarily a Sprinter, but maybe a Chevy or maybe a Ford that has a high roof attachment to it. Because I think if I'm going to be traveling and living in my van, I probably will need that. And I'm talking about living in my van in terms of like for a few weeks at a time. I would always be part-time, I think. I have the sticks and bricks, which I'm happy about. And, I've got this room I have to fix up and everything. But I think it's important to be comfortable when you're driving, especially the distances I'm driving, right? But so Dave, your ultimate goal is to convert all electric and have like 20,000 watts of solar. Man. Oh yeah. The silver shack of love. Thanks, bub. Yeah, everything's going solar. I mean, I'm learning so much. I mean, I think eventually it's all gonna go like solar, like the way we're getting electricity. Like we've proven it. Like for me, it's possible to essentially hold out in my little van for like 5 to 10 days, right? You could literally just hold out there for a very long time. Yeah, yeah, I know, like a lot more gas with the bigger van, but it's one of those like really like well, I guess like I could do it with a minivan, but it'd be great to be able to, especially if I'm going to be traveling and living full time, to be able to stand up. Although, the standing up thing isn't really, I'm wondering if might be like my kitchen sink. So when I built out this little minivan camper van, I thought I would need a kitchen sink. Well, I actually don't need one. I ended up getting this little like collapsible sink, and it's working great for me. So right now I'm using the sink as storage. But I do use it every so often. For example, if I have to like, dump some water or murky water or whatever, right? And then it goes into my gray water tank, which is basically a giant, tub, right? So I can empty that out. But I didn't think I thought I would need a sink, but right now the way I do things, I don't need a sink. So if I were to do a big build, I probably will not need I- a sink. I don't think I'll need a sink, but I will need a way to sort of get rid of gray water and stuff. Um, yeah, the minivan definitely uses much less gasoline. The other concern I guess I have as well is it's an older minivan. It's definitely an older minivan, and I would never want to be stuck at the side of the road, which, I mean, it's not an issue. It's not a huge deal with me, right? I've been stuck on the side of the road several times in my life. And, but I mean, if I'm like some area where I don't know, and, you know, it's a safety issue as well. So, if anything, if I'm going to be traveling out, I would definitely give it a really good tune up and make sure, talk to my mechanic who I trust. I've known them for decades, and I'll say, look, here's what I'm planning to do. Do you think this minivan camper van will make it through without breaking down? And really, you can only do a best guess. Where if I got a somewhat newer vehicle, that might be something that I might look into at some point. A U-Haul cube van, Bub Blades. If I had to live in a rig full time, I thought about one of those, a U-Haul or an ambulance. An ambulance might work as well. you know that could also work. But in terms of like being able to stand up, it's somewhat important to me. It's not all important, right? But I think it would be really handy to have a way to sort of like stand up in a van right now, because I'm comfortable with it, okay? But I know there's been like a few times where I thought, I'd like to be able to stand up. And but right now, not enough that I need to really get a van that I could stand up in. But at some point, I probably will. Ah, yes, that's right. I could actually, for this van. I'm glad you brought that up, because I can literally take this setup right now and move it to another minivan camper van, as long as it's a Dodge Grand Caravan, because everything fits perfectly. The ceiling will take probably half a day, because I would have to unscrew it and everything, but it would actually work. But I actually have a better way of doing the ceiling the next time around, which will be much cleaner, much easier to implement. And actually, I can actually have it installed in any minivan camper van and uninstall it without almost touching uh, the headboard, the lining. So it'd be much cleaner as well. Because I know there are some individuals who want to sort of maintain, they don't want to like mess with their minivan too much, and I'm okay with that. I love myself ProMaster. I believe it. I like the ProMaster, but I heard that, and again, I don't know. The ProMaster, after a while, like actually, like probably like any van, that some issues start coming up with like the transmission. Well, wait a sec. Maybe I'm confusing that with my van. That's usually the issue with these guys, the Dodge Grand Caravan. Um, so, Bubby, you're asking what you plan standing for really, unless it was healthy. Actually, I don't, that's the thing. I don't really need to stand up. If I need to stand up, I'll just get out of the van. I actually spend more time outside of the van than I do in the van, especially if I've driven out to Algonquin Park or Tobermory or Grand Bend or any provincial park. I spend my time out on the trails because that's where I really love being out in the forest. Now, I do spend time in the minivan if I'm like parked somewhere, maybe at a nice location. For example, in Algonquin Park, there's a few areas where you can literally pull up and you're right on the lake. You're about 5 feet away from the lake, and it's like you have this tiny, tiny little home, okay, on the lake, and the view is beautiful. Actually, I'll tell you what. The next time I go to Algonquin Park, I'm going to find one of those places, and you'll literally see it's sort of like my cabin on wheels with a beautiful view on the lake, and I'm just chilling right out, cooking my food, reading my books, watching my Netflix, and napping and snoring probably. We won't record the snoring though. Beach when there are people with minivans that park at the beach when they're not supposed to. That sounds like me. Well, if I'm not supposed to, I won't park at the beach. But I mean, if I could, I will. If people aren't freaking out and everyone's kind of doing it, I probably would do it. But I'm always mindful. Like I definitely things I won't do is I will not park at a parking lot when I'm supposed to. For example, if someone for wheelchair access, I don't get it. Why people do that? They park in a wheelchair access space. That doesn't compute with me. I wouldn't do that. Vehicles are great, but it's not good for you worrying about them. You know, um, worrying about vehicles. What do you mean, Bub? What do you mean, like worrying about vehicles? That's weird freaking. Are you talking about like in terms like if I leave the van and I'm worrying if someone's going to break into it? Um, I, I have a security system on my van that is incredibly effective, and I won't reveal it because I wouldn't want the security system compromised. But I don't worry about my van leaving it like at a trailhead, and I've been at like dozens of trailheads, and I haven't had an issue. And maybe one day I will. Hopefully, I won't. Yeah, actually, Bubbles, you're right. It does take a certain type of person to park in a handicap parking. I never understood that, and you'll see some of that, unfortunately, right? But I like the idea about parking at the beach, and I've done that before. For example, up in where is it again? I can't. I've lost the name. I can't remember the beach. It's not Wasaga Beach, although I've been to Wasaga Beach. Okay, there's another beach, a really nice beach in Ontario, up out in Georgian Bay. If any of you can think of it, please chime in and let me know. Oh, you know what? We have like 5 people on this live stream. Oh, now we have 6 people on this live stream. Well, hello there, everybody. I'm just sort of talking about my minivan camper van, and we've got some people who are sort of like going in different directions. But originally, I started up this live stream talking about my minivan camper van, talking about my bed system, and how I'm going to be changing it to something much more comfortable. Okay. The other thing too that I'll probably change is the foam, like the foam mattress. It's getting kind of like worn out on one side because I actually sort of like sandwiched them together, and I did and the way I encased it, I didn't do a very good job of it. I'm going to make sure it's going to be much better. Let me see if I can hand that off to somebody who knows what they're doing. Um, yeah, yeah. In terms of vehicles breaking down, yeah, like I could do like the standard stuff, like change a tire, uh, look at the gas line if that's got to be taped up. But I can't do like major issues, right? But I do have. I mean, the worst case scenario is I'd have to call a tow truck to the nearest gas station, and then hopefully somebody can fix it, right? But being stuck somewhere, right? Being stuck somewhere is something that, especially if I don't know the area, is something that would probably concern me. I think most people, right? but as much as possible, I try to make sure that my van is in check. The standard. I do regular oil changes. The tire pressure is good. Suspension's good. I clean my engine. I make sure my battery's charged up. I take care of this thing. There was one thing that went wrong with my van, and that was the driver's side window. It would go down, but wouldn't go back up. And the fix was really easy. It literally was just getting another master switch, ripping out the old one, and putting in the new one. You know. Um, yeah, and yeah, having your home with you as you're driving around and then it breaking down, that is a bit stressful. But a lot of like my entire build is kind of made from free found gifted stuff, right? The gifted stuff I like, but really, if I were to break down, the only thing I'd probably take with me is probably my laptop, and everything else I'm okay with to kind of leave. Like, who really wants to wear my clothes? They can have my hats and socks if they want. I'm taking my underwear with me too, okay? But everything else, I mean, whatever. Like, I've gotten so much use out of it. I'm totally happy with it. Okay. Okay, Dave, see you later. Thanks for visiting, man. Awesome stuff. Next time I'll see you in Malibu, hopefully. I had some issue with the window. Yeah, I found that the driver's side, apparently for the driver's side for vans like mine and maybe others, it's always an issue because apparently like somehow rain gets into it, it gets wet, or there's something funky about the master switch because maybe it's got more wires. I can't remember, but there was a guy on the YouTube that was explaining it. So I ended up going to YouTube University and figuring out how to switch it out after diagnosing the problem, right? Yeah, man. Dave the Uber slave. So Dave, put your link, send me your link, and I'm gonna put it on my community tab. Guys, you should check out Dave the Uber Slave's YouTube channel. It's very cool. Subscribe to it. He's got a lot of information. His stuff is much more, in many ways, like much more detailed in terms of instruction. Mine is more like boom, 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 and then things just kind of get done, right? And then I have these like live streams that I do every so often. But I was talking about the bed. I keep going back to the bed. Okay, so finally, I'm gonna do a slat bed. I'm gonna do a bed, create a bed with like a bunch of slats. And there's a bazillion videos on how to do this, right? And what I'm gonna do is set it up so that it sort of like slides out smoothly, slides back in. And that's my next project. Everything else right now in my van is working superbly. The air conditioner is working well. Very happy about that. So far so good. Oh, I have to change my tires. I still have my winter tires. I know that's bad. I'm wearing them away. I'm irresponsible, but you know what? I need new winter tires. And one time I was thinking of putting bigger tires, obviously not like K2s or anything, or KOs, whatever it's called. Bye, Dave. It's good to see you, man. Till next time, sir. And hopefully, like the tires, I'm definitely going to change. I want beefier tires. That's what she said. I want beefier tires. And that's another thing. Your tires are so important when you're driving around with this stuff, right? Because basically, if you get a flat tire, you're pretty much screwed. But there is a way to fix your tire right away. You basically buy a tire kit, and it's really easy to do. I've done it before, and it's super, super simple. And people pay $5 for this stuff. Iron Firehorse, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Well, I'll tell you what's really funny about this live stream. I thought, you know what? Let me see if I can do a live stream because I wanted to learn how to change the thumbnail on the live stream. And I think I changed the thumbnail. There should be a new thumbnail because the thumbnail that I have there was the one I kept using. It's the van, and it's in this like, the background is a forest. This one should have a new thumbnail when you saw it. I didn't even see it. Belt blades. I got to switch my tires. Oh, I got to switch mine. I got to switch mine galore. Soon. Yeah, so in terms of the bed, I'm going to change that. Aside from that, everything else is good. I even thought about painting parts of my van, the interior, but I probably will not. I'm just looking at a picture of it right now. Probably will not. They aren't on rims. My tires are on rims. I just store them away and bring them to the mechanics. Yeah, I need to change my tires. And for this winter, I probably will get new tires, like beefier tires. That's gonna be much better than before. Wow, guys! Originally, my goal was to just test out this live stream, and here we are. We've all like come together here. Oh, well, we have 7 people, which is awesome. Very happy about that. Dave visited us. Dave the Uber slave, which is really cool. Yeah. You know, I I I guess for me it's like I want tires so that if I ran over a nail or like, like a screw or something, it's not going to like pop on me, okay? Because I've done that a few times over the last few years, because you're driving around and somehow a nail gets lodged in your tire, right? And you get a flat tire. Oh, nice that I caught you live. Well, I'm glad you did. I literally, I just thought, I was just clicking around again and thought, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a live stream. And what I should do next time is actually schedule a live stream. That's what, organized people do. And I'll do that next time. Yes, geez, Aaron, I think we are talking tires, right? Okay, Barb. Thanks for visiting. Thank you very much. It's nice, kind of nice to see everybody. Yeah. Take care, Barb. Till next time. Till next time. Um, yeah. So tires. I talked about the bed system, the tires, and the interior of the van. Um, and it's worked well for the past year. And right now, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything new with the interior of my van right now. Maybe the edge, maybe the storage system at the edge, because it's a little messy. I'd like it to be covered up a bit. Yeah. Talking tired. There we go. I love seeing you guys kind of chat. It's very cool. You know what's weird? There isn't like really like a chat system on. Hey, actually, there is a chat system. I'm looking at it right now. I like the wood look too. I like the wood look too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try something here. Oh wow, it actually does do it. Look at that. If I was using StreamYard, I definitely would be able to share my screen. So I have a bunch of pictures from my build that I took, building up to where it is right now, and I wanted to share them, but I'll probably end up placing them in the community tab. That's probably what I'll end up doing. That way you can sort of see how it's kind of made. Oh, well, yeah. The wood look to me is there's something authentic and honest about it and warm and cozy. And I think if done right, painting it a particular color or maybe adding a finish can really set it off nicely. But for me, I didn't do a lot of that stuff, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's if I were to go through all that effort, I'd like to be able to use materials that were a little better versus what I've got right now, which is, when you watch the van build tour and you get a closer look at my van build, you really see the imperfections. And I don't know if any of you saw some of the cardboard in the kitchen. It's there as well. So, um, and I don't mind the imperfections. I'm actually quite happy with. Actually, I'm happy with the way it is. But I know when and if I do my next van build, I would definitely add a proper finish to it. Like maybe, you know, just certain parts I would put some stain, stain and varnish, things like that. Like the ceiling, I did put varnish, okay, because I wanted to make sure, on both sides, like I wanted to make sure that, because when I'm boiling something, when I'm cooking, it'll start to form steam up there, it'll condensate. But whenever I do type of cooking, I always open up a window. I have to make sure there's proper airflow going through. That's always important. Imperfection. Well, me in some cases, I kind of like the imperfections because it's pretty much me. Like it isn't there's a lot of like a lot of the stuff a lot of parts of my van doesn't even line up, you know. And maybe that's what I kind of like about it. It's very real, right? Um yeah, I like the fact that I mean this thing pretty much costs nothing to build. I mean, it's like my whole build is probably like $2,500. I mean, compare that to like 30, $40,000, $80,000 builds. Granted, it's always different, right? But this is bare minimum build, right? Except for the electrics, okay? The electrics, I wanted to make sure I got the proper like new stuff. I didn't want to buy a used DC to DC charger or anything like that. I wanted to buy the new stuff. The electrics, a lot of money was spent on that. And what's great is, you know, some of the stuff that I got was gifted, was donated to me, and I really super appreciate that. You know, clever, lots of innovations. Wow, that just made my day. Clever. Thank you. So Iron Firehorse, you use popsicle sticks and thin cardboard to make a fluorescent sign. That's very cool. Yeah, actually, you know, I use cardboard, you know, to make my initial set of like planning for the van, you know. 85 bucks on the floor in the bed. You know what? You're doing it right. You're doing it. That's all you need. I mean, when I first started, I had a no build and I was having the time of my life. But then materials started becoming available, and I was like, you know, I'd like to make this like really help me like a little cabin. And you know what? You should do a video and let me know when you have it done. I'd love to see it. You know, I'll tell you something about van builds, and I don't think I will ever get bored looking at van builds. I just love this stuff. It's just so cool the way people have done their builds, the way they solve problems, the way they're being comfortable, the way they do things. It's just so exciting to me. When on the Facebook group, whenever somebody posts their build, and I'm thinking, wow, they made that, and that's so cool, right? But yeah, wow. Yes, go for it, Iron. You should do video. And you know, and just do the video like with no expectation except just to post it up. Like, I mean, that's what I end up doing. Like the other day, a couple of days ago, I did like 2 live streams just to sort of like, let's see how this works again. And today I'm doing this live stream because it's kind of cool, right? I'm having a fun time. Didn't expect you guys to show up, but I'm so glad you did. Thank you very much. Next time I should schedule a live stream. Yeah. You have a video of the floor in private because I have some stuff wrong with it. Yeah, you know, my first videos, I didn't do a thumbnail. I sort of just used what the video had. But you can always change the thumbnail, by the way, when you do a video. Like that's another thing I'm learning. I'm learning. When I first started, I didn't know anything about YouTube. Like, I mean, I knew about YouTube, but I wasn't like I didn't do stuff with YouTube. I didn't post stuff on YouTube. Now I have over 200 videos posted on YouTube because it's like, wow, this is a lot of fun. But also being able to look back at all my content, my YouTube material, it's really cool. You know, you know what? I'm more of the just for kicks kind of guy. I'll schedule it right and you know more formal, right? But I kind of like just like go out there. It's like what I do is, for example, in the next couple of hours, I actually don't know where I'm going to be. I mean, I might just jump in my van and start driving up north or west or east, or I might just sort of just chill right out and just you know figure stuff out, and I might go visit my parents. I don't have this like set schedule. Like I do have kind of like a pattern, okay. But this one here, I just thought, hey, you know what the heck, right? Oh wow. But you need to see my OnlyFans. Oh, there's a thing called OnlyVans. You know that? There's like OnlyVans on Reddit. There's an OnlyVans subreddit, and I joined it because I thought it was hilarious. And I post a lot of my stuff there, and just to get it out there, let people know what I have. Yeah, I have an Instagram. I think if you have your Instagram, just post it up in the link. I'm cool with that, right? Share your stuff, right? Let people know. Wow, look at that. I'm gonna leave this running, the chat. You guys can chat. I just gotta check my messages here. I know OnlyVans, right? It's on Reddit. So if you go to OnlyVans, it's a subreddit. Iron, thank you very much. I think I saw you a few times. I'm thinking, hey, it's Iron. How are you? Very cool. Thank you very much. I sort of post stuff there. Like if I have a picture, I'll just post it. And I think I've posted about 130 photos and stuff and videos. I just like throw stuff in there. That'd be very cool. Making videos is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I enjoy making videos, but also what happens later on. Because when I look at my old videos from when I first started, it's really cool. And it kind of shows how far I've gone and also how my thinking has changed, how my priorities have changed, and just how everything is. And I think that's a huge benefit to having a YouTube channel, right? But the other thing too is you're putting yourself out there. I had a few unsavory situations, but I was whatever, right? I just sort of ended up blocking them, but it happens, and it's something you sort of have to understand. It's the nature of the internet, because the moment you're on the internet, you're sort of like putting yourself out there, you'll always get somebody that will try to do something that doesn't like you, or it's just a meanie, and that happens. I have Twitter, but I just use it to post my stuff. I'm mostly YouTube. Most of my stuff is YouTube and Instagram, and obviously I'm on Facebook as well. I'm going to have probably smokes, but I really need to get to work. You gotta get it done. Like I said, get those goals going. You know what I mean? That's what makes us awesome, when we start getting our goals in place. And I really believe a lot of the time it's not that you kind of can't do it. I think a lot of times sometimes we just don't know how to do something. But if you figure it out, you'll be able to get it done, right? And also when you schedule it, make sure you do it the time you schedule it. Because I've been guilty of where I've scheduled something and I didn't end up doing what I was supposed to be doing. Let me just check my message here. Oh, wow, look at that. That's so many messages. Why do I have messages here? Sorry, guys. Okay, you know what I need to do next? I think I need to conclude this live chat, this live stream, because I'm supposed to be somewhere 20 minutes ago. And I think I'm late. There you go. Oh, and I just noticed this thing here. This thing that pops up whenever somebody says something. Here we go. Like you said, the nature of the nature of the internet. It is the nature of the internet. Okay, you guys, my friends, my buddies, my Invisi friends. I really appreciate you guys visiting me. I'm constantly humbled by you guys. You're so awesome. I have to get going. You guys need to get going. This was supposed to be just a test, and I'm going to be signing off. If I can find that end stream button, which is right there at the very bottom. Okay, guys, countdown. And remember, you're awesome. And I know some of you guys, maybe somebody out there thinks it's kind of cringy, but I really believe it, okay? And you can use the word awesome. You can use the word magnificent, remarkable, whatever it is. Plan it out, write it down, think about it, dream about it, then execute it, okay? Wow, that sounded like a rap tune, right? Okay, guys, have a good day. Enjoy the weekend. And I might do another live stream. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to do the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You guys are awesome. Bye-bye.